back to Casablanca. This week I'm doing another first. This week I'm doing my first non-English title. It's a Korean drama called It's Okay to Not Be Okay. It's a Netflix original and it aired in 2020. And I don't know how often Netflix does this now. Because I know in the past they're known for just dropping an entire season at a time. But apparently this show was week to week. Because when I looked up to see when it aired, it said like June to August. And I was like, wait a second. So, yeah. Also, the way this show was made, I don't know if it was made for American audiences or if it was localized. Because there's things in here that I'm like, I don't know if that's in the Korean version, because it's in Korean. I don't watch foreign movies. When I watch a movie, like a Korean movie or like a Japanese movie, Spanish movie, whatever, I don't like dubbing it. I don't like watching the dubbed version because it changes the story. For example, I watched, whenever it first came out a long time ago, I think it was 2004, I watched House of Flying Daggers with my sister. Like, I watched it like 3 or 4 times, dubbed, and I loved it. It was a great movie. And then my sister was like, I want to watch the original Chinese. And I was like, fine. And then, because like, I'd seen it 3 times, I know the story, I know what happens. But then in the Chinese version, it's different. Like, because they try to match the dubbing with the lips, it changes the story to match the words. And it's like, this isn't what happens in the original. Wait, this is the original. Actually, the original story is better than the dubbed version. And so, yeah, ever since then, I prefer just watching the original subtitled version. I have noticed that I think that happened with Squid Game because there's not very many, but I have seen some debates like this happened in Squid Game, and others are like, no, that's not what happened. This is what happened. Like, that's not what happened. This is what happened. Like, this group watched the dubbed version. This group watched the subtitled version. And that's why I don't watch dubbed. Actually, what's funny is I actually watched this show, It's Okay to Not Be Okay, 2 years ago. Emery recommended it. I watched Squid Game and I wanted another Korean drama to watch. Actually, Squid Game isn't really a Korean drama. It's Korean, but it's not a drama. So everyone just calls it a K-drama. And I'm like, K? It's more like a K action thriller? I don't know. Not a thriller. I don't know. It's a K something. But it's not a drama. And so I wanted something else. And Emery was like, this one. And I'm like, okay. It's not even remotely close to Squid Game. If you take what I just said and like, oh, it's like Squid Game. No, it is nothing like Squid Game. The only thing it has in common with Squid Game is it's Korean. And so, like, I watched it 2 years ago, and I loved it. I watched it because there's 16 episodes. I watched 1 episode a night for 16 nights over 2 weeks. And, yeah, I loved it, except for the ending. I hated the ending because it just came out. There was a plot twist. I'm not going to spoil any major spoilers. There might be minor spoilers in here, but like there's a plot twist like 3 episodes from the end. It kind of completely changes the way that the story, and you're looking back, and when it happened the first time and I watched it, I was like, okay, that's out of nowhere. That doesn't even make sense. Like, what? So I was like, I like it except for that ending. That random plot twist came out of nowhere. And then, so I decided to watch it again for this review. I wanted to review it and to cover it on this podcast. And I watched it again, but knowing what happens, I realized, oh, it didn't come out of nowhere. Like, knowing what happens, you kind of see it the second time, you're like, oh, I see them setting that up. That is so clever. It's like subtle. And I probably shouldn't have even said anything about there being a plot twist. The thing that makes it so shocking is that you don't even realize you're looking for a plot twist. When it happens, you're like, oh, we're doing that. It's one of those things. It's a plot twist. And so, like, it helps that you don't know there's a plot twist coming. It makes it more surprising. So, if you're listening to this and you've never seen it, oops. Also, don't try to guess what the plot twist is. You're never gonna get it, because it is completely random, and you don't know what you're looking for. I'm spending way too much time on this. I was gonna just barely touch on it, and I've spent like half of this so far talking about the plot twist. Oh, I've already been recording for 6 minutes. Wow. So, I haven't even gotten to the cast and crew. So, it is a 2020 K-drama. It's directed... Okay, I also have to preface this by saying I already know I'm going to mispronounce all the names. If you follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, all that, you've seen me posting, hey, do I have any Korean speakers? I need help with pronunciations. Nobody responded. Absolutely nobody. So, yeah, I'm going to say all these wrong. And you're probably going to say, hey, what? You just watched 16 episodes of them saying these names. How are you going to get it wrong? Because I tried doing Duolingo because I've been doing Duolingo for like a year and a half. Wait, let me see. I'm on 833-day streak, and that's mostly learning Japanese. So the last week, I switched it to Korean to try to learn a little Korean. Not because I want to learn it to speak it fluently. Just it's the first thing they do in the Japanese lessons is get the pronunciations. And once you get the pronunciations down, the rest is pretty easy. Yes, I said it. Japanese isn't that hard to learn. It's not that hard to start to learn. It took me a couple months to get the pronunciations down, and I can say pretty much anything in Japanese. It's the, memorizing all the words and stuff, the important part of learning a language that's hard. So with Korean, I'm thinking, oh, that might not be so hard. I have Duolingo pulled up. Let me show you. This is... Wait, where is it? Oh no, where is it? The G sound. Oh yeah, I have it. I have my phone. When I record, I turn my volume down so I don't get distracted by notifications. This is a G. Ka. Sounds like a K. And here's a K. Da. Sounded like a G. Here's a D. Ta. Sounds like a T. Here's the T. Da. Sounds like a D. P. Sounds like a B. And finally, where did it go? Here's a B. Pa. Sounds like a P. And those are just a few examples. Granted, I was trying to learn this in a week. And I was just trying to find someone so I could just practice the specific names. Just learn these specific words. And I couldn't find anybody. So... all of that to say, I've spent 10 minutes talking about, I haven't gotten into. I am going to mispronounce these names. I already know it. So, yeah. Anyway, It's Okay to Not Be Okay is directed by Park Shin-woo. Was written by Jo Yong, there's a Y. And starring Seo Yea-ji, Kim Soo-hyun, and Oh Jung-se. And for the character names, I'm just going to say them once and then find shorter ways of saying them. The three main characters, Ko Moon-young, who's an author, a children's author. I'm just gonna call her Miss Ko because that's what everyone calls her. Moon Gang-ti and Moon Sang-ti, they're brothers. I'm gonna call Moon Gang-ti this Moon, and then Sang-ti, probably just call him that. So it's a romantic comedy drama, but I think it's categorized under romance, and I think the fact it's classified as romance is kind of a spoiler, because like the first half is kind of problematic in my opinion. It's one of those imagine if the roles were reversed type things, where like the first several episodes, Miss Ko is basically stalking Moon and is like, I want to be with you and I'm going to make you mine, and stalks him. Like, he literally moves to a different city and she follows him. And if it was the other way around, it would be really creepy. Or at least everyone would be like, oh, that's so creepy. This is why, how is this romantic? But, yeah. You just kind of go with it. It's fiction. You just kind of go with it in this case. If this was like a true story, it would be like a true crime story. It's like, and then she followed him to a different city. But yeah, like the first few episodes, it does take a few episodes. It starts right away. Like, it's from the get-go. It goes. But it takes a few episodes to really get to like the right. There's like 5 different ways I want to say this. It's good all the way through. It doesn't start slow. It does start right. Like, the story starts right away. But it doesn't like find its footing, I guess, until a few episodes in. Because the first few episodes are like setting up the characters, the story, their situation, their setting. And then after like the 5th episode, everyone's in their place that they stay in the rest of the show. Like, not like they don't stay in that position, but like the show starts like everyone's in a certain spot. And within the 5th episode, some people literally move. Some people like metaphorically. I'm trying not to spoil anything. That's why I'm like wording it so bad. Oh, let's be honest. I'd probably word it bad anyway. But yeah, there's a couple other characters I want to talk about. I think probably one of my favorite. There's 2 of my favorite characters. Other than I think my favorite characters are the main 3 that I've already said. But my 2 other favorite characters is again, I'm gonna butcher this. Jo Yong-ji. No, I totally got it wrong. She's like a secretary to Mr. Lee, who is the publisher agent of Miss Ko's publishing company. And I'm just gonna call her Yoo, Yoo. And she's so adorable. But she's like so abused by Mr. Lee, and it's like it's played for laughs, but it's one of those things where another one of those things where it's like, if it was real life, imagine what it. Yeah, if this wasn't a comedy and it wasn't played for laughs, it's like, okay, Mr. Lee is a jerk, but he's actually one of the good guys. There are moments where like he does, where he is nice to her. And then the other one is, the name is Kang Soon Deok. No, totally mispronounced that again. She's the mother of another character, Jury. And so for her character, I love what they did with her character because she owns the house that most of the cast stays at. Like, they just need a place to stay. In most other shows, she would just kind of be a throw-off character, kind of a, we need a place to stay, but we don't want to have to deal with all the household stuff. So there's this other character over here. We're going to throw it on them. They're going to be a background character. We're not going to know anything about them. They're not important to the story. They're just a plot device. And at first, I thought that's what she was going to be. I'm like, oh, she's just going to be the house owner, and we're not going to see her very often. Sucks if this is a thing, but yeah. But she ends up becoming one of the, like, the major characters, to the point where, like, she becomes like a mother figure to most of the cast, most of the characters. And she's actually the one, I figured somebody at some point in the show would say the title of the show, It's Okay to Not Be Okay. I figured somebody would be the one to say it. She's the one to say it. Like I said, the characters start at a certain spot, and by the 5th episode, they're in the different spot. By the end of the show, they're all completely different. Like, I think the sign of a good story is the characters change. If the story ends and the characters are exactly the same as it started, it wasn't that good of a story. This is definitely a good story because all of the characters change by the end. Like, I'll just give, for example, the two leads, Moon and Miss Ko. They are complete opposites. Like, he's basically emotionally shut off. He has to, his brother, older brother, Sang-ti, he has autism. He's 35. Moon is 30. And I think Miss Ko is also 30. And so he basically he was raised being told he was born to take care of his older brother, and that's what his whole life was he basically shut himself off emotionally. He can't show any emotions because he doesn't want to upset his brother, so his whole life is dedicated to taking care of his brother. On the other hand, Miss Ko is basically secluded in other ways. She was a children's writer, and she wrote kind of grotesque children's books. They're kids' books that aren't exactly kid-friendly. And yeah, like, at the point that the story starts, she's about to publish a book called Zombie Kid, and it's her most grotesque yet, to the point where parents actually complain. But the way she was raised, she's kind of also shut off, but she's not human. Like, she's literally a human, but she's very rude, and she's kind of a monster, actually. Here, several characters call her a monster, and that's how she acts. And she has no empathy, very closed off. And no empathy at all. And by the end, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but both characters have changed. And I think, like, the big moment when things start to change, this is kind of a spoiler. I'm not going to say when this happens. Like I said, it's a romance, so at some point the feelings change between the two of them. At the very beginning, like, she's stalking him. At the very beginning, she's stalking him, and he's like, please, leave me alone. Go away. Don't follow me. And by the end, the genre this is categorized in is a spoiler, so I don't think it's a spoiler to say that they get together at some point in the show. Are they together at the end? I'm not going to say that or not. But they do get together at some point in the show. And I think the moment that really changes, where the story really changes for like their feelings towards each other, is she has nightmares about her mom at night, and it shows her like crying. and it's like the first time you really see her like as a human. It's like, oh, she's having human emotions, and she's in her bed like crying, and then Moon, he's sleeping in a different room and he can hear her, and so he goes in there and he sees that she's crying, and he goes and he tries to hug her, and she's crying and like screaming and like please, like she's so scared because like the nightmare she had. And the actor, Seo Yea-ji, the acting was like really good. I typically hate when actors fake cry in scenes because it's always fake, and it's like, obviously it's fake, they're acting, but like it's always so awkward because like you know they're faking, and it's like, oh, this is so awkward. But like she pulls it off really well. Like it's a very emotional scene. And yeah, then the episode ends. That's another thing I kind of like about this. I like a lot. I like a whole bunch about this show, but like one thing I like is the show kind of cliffhangers each episode. Each episode kind of overlaps a little bit because like something happens and it ends, and you know it's about to end because like the edge of the screen kind of does like a crystal lens flare thing, and then a song comes on and it does like a flashbacks of scenes in the show, and then when the next episode starts, it usually replays that last scene and then continues from there. But sometimes it doesn't just play it straight. Sometimes it'll show like from a different angle, like an aspect you didn't see the first time, or like it'll start a little bit before that scene to add more context. And there are times where it kind of undoes the feeling of the ending, because like there was at least one episode that ended like this really good feeling, and it's like, oh yeah, things are good, and then the next episode starts and like it replays that moment, and then a few seconds later it's like, actually no, we're not going to give you these happy feelings, we're going to take that away, pull the rug out from under you. This was not a happy scene. It's like, well, why? So that's something they did for every episode, and I really liked it. It was very well done. I said Squid Game got me into this. Squid Game technically got me into K-dramas, even though that's not a K-drama. This really got me into K-dramas. I wanted to look up other ones, and I started watching 2 other ones after I finished this the first time, and I couldn't get into them. And I found out that I'm not the only one, because apparently there's a list of like 15 K-dramas that are so good it ruins K-dramas for everybody, and obviously this was one of them. I haven't seen the other ones. That means there's 14 other K-dramas I can watch without, it not being ruined, because yeah, like like I want to watch them, but like at the same time it's like I like them because they're good, not because they're K-dramas, but at the same time I've seen 2 K-dramas and I really liked them, so I was like, hey, maybe other K-dramas are good. I mean, obviously they're so popular, of course they're good, but then I watched 2 others and I couldn't get past the first episode. I'm like, I don't even remember what they were. It's like me with anime. There's like 5 anime that I like, and everyone's like, oh, if you like those anime, you'll love this long list of anime. I'm like, no, I don't like them because they're anime. I like them because they're good. They just happen to be anime. And so like, because I don't use the love feature on Netflix that often unless I absolutely love a title. And because there's I think there's the downvote, and then there's the thumbs up, and then there's the 2 thumbs up, which is love. Like it, love it. And this is, It's Okay to Not Be Okay is one of the few. There's only like 5 that I hit it on. So I did it on that It's Okay to Not Be Okay. And it's pretty much only recommending K-dramas to me now. It's like, no. It's... And some of them don't even look that good. I mean, it's kind of like don't call a book by its cover. Don't judge a book. You gotta call a book by its cover. It has a specific name. Don't judge a book by its cover. But you see the poster for It's Okay to Not Be Okay, and it's like, oh, this looks like it's going to be good, and then it is. But then I see other K-drama poster things on Netflix, and it's just like a couple smiling at the camera, and I'm like, okay, this is not interesting. They might be good. I don't know. I should probably try them. I will say this. I went to look up those characters. Look up those actors. See if they're in anything. That could be a good start. Because I started with It's Okay to Not Be Okay. And I don't know where to go from here if I want to watch K-dramas. And it's like, well, I know I like these actors. See what else they're in. And I will do that. I will definitely do that. Oh! So, speaking of the name being long, It's Okay to Not Be Okay. I was curious, and I found out that it's like that even on the opening titles, the name is in Korean. And so I looked up the name in Korean, like the Korean letters, and it doesn't translate to It's Okay to Not Be Okay. It translates to Psycho, but it's okay. So, yeah, that was not expected. Oh, I'm looking at something else here. Oh, yeah. I got distracted and I was talking about something earlier. There's things in here that I'm not sure if it was just localized to America or if it's in the original or if this is the original. I don't know. If this was shown in Korea before it was shown here, because there's like a lot of the songs are English. It shows a lot of English songs. And there's product placement in here and they make it obvious. But like they tie it directly into the story. Like the characters will eat at Subway, which I'm sure they have in Korea. I mean, it's in it shows them eating at Subway. So it's like, why would they eat at Subway if it's not in Korea? So, but what I thought was funny, there was a scene where you and Mr. Lee eating at Subway, and they're sitting right next to where the chips are, and the chip logos were blurred out. I was like, it's because Subway was paying for this scene, not those brands. I thought that was funny. There are occasional moments where that character will turn to the screen and say something in English. Like there's a moment when Miss Ko is doing a class at a psychiatric hospital, where that's one of the major set pieces of the show. Is one of the locations of the show is at a psychiatric hospital, and she's doing a class there, and she does this whole lesson, and at the end she turns to the camera and goes, "Everybody be happy, 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 happy." And it's like, oh, that's random English, almost jarring in a way. And so speaking of English, after I finished watching it, I was still struggling on how to pronounce the names, and I know sometimes on the English dubs of something they'll change the name to an English name or an easier name for English speakers, and so I was like, you know what, I'll listen to the English dub and then just say whatever they say. If they change the name to Scott or something, I'll just say the name's Scott. But then I looked, and I actually took a picture because obviously on Netflix on PS5, you can't take a screenshot. So I have to scroll up because I sent it to Emery. Wait, when did I... Wow, it was a while ago. So much has happened. Oh, there it is. Wow, we talk a lot. I had to scroll way up to it. The audio, they have Brazilian Portuguese, Hindi, Japanese, Korean audio description, and Spanish. So, yeah, even if I wanted to watch the dubbed version, I couldn't. Oh, wait. Japanese was one of them. I could have watched it in Japanese and just said the Japanese names because I'm not fluent in Japanese. Like I said, I can pretty much pronounce the Japanese stuff. But anyway, so this show, it's popular enough that it was nominated for an Emmy. It didn't win, unfortunately. But it's not popular enough to really be talked about. There's a Wikipedia for it, but not a fan wiki. You know, like they have like the fandom.wiki or whatever. Where like everything has a wiki. This doesn't. There's a wiki page. There's a drama wiki, and it shows like a K-drama wiki, I think, and it just has like a page, just one page for a whole bunch of shows, and this has one page. And I look on YouTube for like people like breaking down the show, like with things like Secret Invasion or whatever, anything, pretty much anything that comes out. There's a whole bunch of YouTube videos talking about it and like breaking it down and showing the Easter eggs, going into like psychological analysis. I found one video of somebody talking about it. Her name is Heidi Rosario. She did a 2-part review where the first part she did episodes 1 through 4, and the second part she did episodes 5 through 9. She goes, I'm going to do a part 3 coming up. This was 3 years ago. She hasn't done a part 3. I commented on the second part, saying, you didn't do a part 3. So, yeah. I will say, I watched her 2 videos. Nothing she said really changed the way she pretty much had the same thoughts I did, or at least like what she did say. She didn't add, I don't want to be like, I watched it and then I got my ideas from her video. No, I was literally watching her video going, exactly, right? And so, yeah. I wish this show was more popular because it's really good. And so I tell people about it and they're like, oh, I don't want to read subtitles. And read the subtitles. I'm dyslexic and I can read this. I can follow along. I will say I can't do that with everything. There's this one anime I was trying to watch. Emery was wanting me to watch it. And I tried. But like they talk really fast and the subtitles were flying by and I couldn't follow along. And yeah, I wasn't able to watch it. So like I can't always watch subtitles, but this one, they speak normal. Like they're not talking super fast. So yeah, I was going to say, it's because it's a drama, it's not a comedy. It is a comedy drama romance. It's very funny. There's a lot of moments where you're laughing. And then there's a lot of like really serious, like make you want to cry moments. And then there's some shocking moments. And then there's Netflix has a category called Swoon Worthy. Not sure I like that name, but this is in that category if that helps. So anyway, if I did have to rate this, I haven't rated anything in one of these episodes in a long time. But if I had to rate this, I would give it a 10 out of 10. I want there to be a second season, and the few people I have seen online talking about this have been like, we want a season 2. The story wraps up. It's not like it leaves loose ends. Like, oh no, they have like a plot twist at the end. Well, they have a plot twist. They don't have a cliffhanger. Like, what's going to happen next? It's just, I like these characters so much. I want to keep going with them. Just like, what happens to them next? Like, it ends it in a way that's like you can kind of guess what's going to happen next, and like, I want to know what happens next. I want to see it. So, yeah, that's probably not going to happen. Something in my research, because I wanted to see what are the chances of it getting a second season, and apparently with like shows in Korea, they have a tendency of just doing like a one-off season and just like wrapping it up, like telling us like a story in one season and then moving on to the next show. It's not often that a show gets a second season. Squid Game is probably a rare exception. It's like super popular, like probably the most popular show Korea's ever produced. So that is an exception to the rule. It's not really a rule, but that's just what I've noticed. Like, I have seen a couple places that are like, it's not likely to get a second season because of this, but then like I was looking at like different K-dramas and it did say like one season, a couple 2 seasons, and I was like, okay. It's not like us here in America where we give something 15 seasons and no end in sight. I'm looking at you, Grey's Anatomy. Wait, I think it's 18 seasons now. I don't know. Hey Google, how many seasons of Grey's Anatomy are there?
Grey's Anatomy has 19 seasons.
Oh. Okay. See, Korea doesn't do that. Anyway, I'm going to end the show. I'm going to end the episode here. So, yeah. Go watch It's Okay to Not Be Okay. It's streaming on Netflix.